It's hard to watch a royal fairy tale crash and burn, but that's exactly what's happening in Montecito. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, once the dazzling rebels of the royal family, have gone from high-gloss headlines to hushed whispers of downfall. What started as a bold move to break free from the firm has rapidly unraveled into a cautionary tale of ego, excess, and a crumbling empire. Before we go deeper into the shocking details of staff walkouts, hidden real estate, listings, and whispers of divorce, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, because what's coming next will leave you speechless, and you won't want to miss a single update. Now let's get into it. When Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020, they promised a new era, a fresh independent path free from palace politics. But in their pursuit of global stardom, something darker has taken roots. Something even their most loyal supporters are starting to question. According to explosive reports, the Sussex household is bleeding staff at a rate that can't be ignored. What's been publicly acknowledged as strategic restructuring is now being called what it really is: a purge. Their entire communications team gone. Senior press officers let go. Even household staff, the ones managing their 16th estate and keeping their chicken coop functional, have quietly disappeared. Page 6 reported that at least 25 employees have exited since Brexit, but sources close to the chaos say the real number is far higher. Assistants, housekeepers, nannies, even private chefs' names we'll never hear about have all left in silence. Some call it the Sussex Exodus. Others, more bitterly, refer to it as the Survivors Club. And these survivors are finally speaking out. What they describe isn't just dysfunction, it's a full-blown horror show. One former aide recounted being woken up at 3 a.m. to remake a banana cake Meghan called disgusting. Another revealed how Meghan would switch personalities the moment Harry left the room, gracious in his presence, cruel behind closed doors. There are allegations of screaming fits over dust in a corner, icy silence for trivial mistakes, and a relentless 24/7 work culture where staff lived in fear of the next phone call. Former employees say Meghan demanded perfection, but defined it with ever-changing standards that made success impossible. One insider chillingly said, "It wasn't about being good at your job, it was about surviving her moods." Some of these ex-employees have since sought therapy. Others have quietly signed NDAs but still hint at the trauma they endured. From verbal outbursts to public berating, the tales paint a deeply disturbing picture. And through it all, Harry, he was the apologetic peacemaker, charming, yes, but powerless. Staff say he knew things were wrong. He'd privately apologize, offer comforting words, even acknowledge the madness, but never confront it head-on. This isn't just an internal HR crisis. It's a reflection of a collapsing foundation, one built not on service and it's only getting worse. Let's talk about the money. For a couple who once secured a headline-grabbing Netflix deal worth a supposed $100 million, reality is proving far less glamorous. Insiders now say the deal, stretched across years and multiple projects, is worth closer to $20 million and it's about to expire. Spotify already pulled the plug on their podcast deal, citing lackluster performance and low engagement. Meanwhile, they're burning through cash at a rate that even their royal inheritance can't sustain. The yearly property tax alone on their Montecito mansion is nearly $300,000. The home, valued at around $15 million, comes with a $9.5 million mortgage. Add to that a $2 million annual security bill, designer wardrobes, private chefs, and travel expenses, and you begin to see the financial black hole forming beneath them. But that's not all. Behind closed doors, sources say the couple is quietly trying to sell the mansion, not publicly, of course. That would raise too many questions, but discreet feelers have gone out. The whispers are getting louder. They can't afford the life they've built. And when the money dries up, the glamour follows. Even their once sharp PR machine is falling apart. The social media team that curated their image with perfectly polished posts, gone. Their website updates are erratic, their branding inconsistent, their outreach silent. In an industry where presence is everything, they've gone disturbingly quiet. But as their empire cracks, someone is rising in stark contrast. While Meghan and Harry scramble to manage a vanishing empire, Catherine, Princess of Wales, is doing what they never could, winning without trying. It was a quiet but powerful moment. French President Emmanuel Macron visited Windsor Castle. Catherine, dressed in a flawless Dior ensemble with Queen Elizabeth's pearls delicately strung around her neck, greeted him with a smile that radiated both confidence and class. She didn't have to say a word. Her grace spoke volumes. Even Macron, a seasoned diplomat, broke protocol to kiss her hand in a gesture of deep personal respect. There were no staged camera crews, no polished social media rollouts, just presence. presence that commands admiration? In that moment, Catherine reminded the world what true royalty looks like: composed, grounded, effortless. Meanwhile, across the ocean in Montecito, Meghan was once again spotted in a near-identical outfit. Just days later, same Dior cut, same classic styling. It was hard to ignore. Royal watchers called it a coincidence, but palace insiders weren't so generous. One joked, "Her fashion strategy seems to be copy and hope for the best." The problem is, you can't copy elegance. You can't mimic loyalty. You can't fake authenticity. And while Meghan clings to luxury labels and curated interviews, Catherine simply shows up and wins. But perhaps what's most damaging to Meghan and Harry's image right now isn't the financial cracks or PR flops. It's the growing perception that behind their mansion gates lies a kingdom ruled by fear and control. Insiders say Meghan operates like a CEO of a zero oversight. Every decision filters through her. Every press release, every tweet, every appearance is pre-approved or vetoed by her hand. She reportedly obsesses over headlines, reading and rereading every article, dissecting every comment and reacting with fury to anything less than flattering. When Vanity Fair published a piece questioning their financial stability, Meghan allegedly spiraled, pacing the halls, demanding staff pushback, firing off frantic messages late into the night. Staff say it's not just the headlines, it's everything. One former aide recalled being reprimanded for how a flower arrangement looked during a Zoom background. Another said Meghan dictated the exact language to be used when describing their chickens in a press release. Yes, they're chickens. Emails would start at 5 a.m., followed by calls at 5:03 a.m. asking why there hadn't been a response. One assistant recounted being woken in the middle of the night to fix a typo on a presentation slide. It was a typo in a file no one would see. And when things went wrong, the blame never landed on her desk. The culture, they say, was built on control and fear. People were praised one moment, iced out the next. Meetings happened without notice. Projects were canceled without explanation. One by one, even high-ranking staff quietly exited. Communications directors, PR heads, personal aides, all gone. Some walked, others were pushed, but almost all left without public comment. Silence, that speaks volumes. And Harry, according to those who were there, he often looked tired, distracted, frustrated, never stepping in, never correcting course. He offered sympathy but not solutions. He smoothed over chaos rather than confront it. Staff began to lose faith not just in Meghan, but in him. He had the power to change the environment, and he didn't. But now, even Harry's attempts to control the narrative are falling flat. In response to the Vanity Fair fallout, he allegedly tried to orchestrate a glowing cover piece for Us Weekly complete with anonymous quotes from former staff praising the couple, but audiences didn't buy it. Not when over 40 staff members across 2 continents have walked out, because at some point, numbers speak louder than PR. And speaking of numbers, legal battles are mounting. Between Meghan's ongoing issues tied to bullying allegations and Harry's courtroom crusade against the British press, insiders estimate their combined legal costs have quietly soared into the millions. That money, it's not coming back. Which leads us to the question no one wants to say out loud, but everyone's already whispering. Divorce. It's not confirmed. No documents have been filed. But when a marriage starts to look more like a failing business partnership, when the empire is built on performance instead of partnership, cracks are bound to show. Friends of the couple are reportedly growing. Concerned, Meghan is described as increasingly irritable. Harry withdrawn, the smiles at public events. Forced, the body language distant, and the mansion still on the market, albeit quietly. Sources say the couple sleeps in separate wings, conversations are strained, and while they may still present a united front in interviews, insiders say the tension is palpable. One royal insider put it bluntly, when the brand crumbles, so does the bond. And in the Sussex's case, the brand isn't just crumbling, it's collapsing. As the empire collapses, so too does the illusion. Once hailed as bold reformers, Harry and Meghan are now viewed through a very different lens. What was once curiosity has become scrutiny. What was once sympathy has turned to skepticism. And what was once power, it's slipping through their fingers like sand. Their public image, carefully curated and fiercely protected, has taken hit after hit. Spotify dropped them. Netflix seems disinterested in renewing their deal. Their Archewell Foundation, once positioned as a platform for global change, is reportedly struggling with staffing and transparency issues. Their podcast flopped, their docuseries underperformed, and their social media presence practically vanished. The team that once micromanaged every Instagram caption and carefully filtered every tweet is gone. No new hires, no updates, just silence. For a brand built on attention, silence is death. And then there are the voices from within, the former staffers, the disillusioned insiders, the once loyal employees who finally had enough. Their stories are strikingly similar. Emotional volatility, impossible expectations, and a work environment that left many in tears. One said, "You didn't know what version of Meghan you were going to get. Some days she was warm. Other days, she'd cut you down over something as simple as a typo." Another claimed that even the smallest mistakes, like forgetting to light a specific candle before an interview, could lead to days of tension. Some described Harry as kind but checked out. He'd occasionally apologize for Meghan's behavior behind closed doors, but never in front of her. One staffer even called him a hostage in his own castle. And still, through it all, the couple continued to present themselves as victims of the press, victims of the firm, victims of the public. But at some point, the narrative wore thin. People started asking harder questions. Why did so many staff quit? Why are they bleeding money? Why does everything Spotify to Netflix fizzle out? Why do so many former allies, including media outlets once in their corner, now run unflattering stories without hesitation? Because the truth has a way of surfacing, and here it is. Harry and Meghan overestimated their staying power. They thought royal fame could be repackaged into Hollywood relevance. They believed a palace rebellion would guarantee long-term influence. They assumed their grievances would remain compelling forever. But fame is a business, and business punishes weakness. Hollywood is transactional. It rewards performance, not potential. Results, not drama. And, unfortunately for the Sussexes, they haven't delivered. Even former fans have begun to distance themselves. Online communities once filled with defenders have gone quiet. Comment sections now mock rather than praise. The tide has turned and it's not going back. Meanwhile, Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues to shine. Without flashy PR teams or emotionally charged interviews, she simply leads by example. Every public appearance reinforces her quiet strength. Every gesture reminds people what elegance looks like. She doesn't have to chase influence. It follows her. And that's the ultimate contrast. While Meghan and Harry desperately try to control the narrative, Catherine lets her actions speak. While their team collapses under pressure, hers rises with grace. While their mansion fills with echoing silence, Windsor resounds with purpose. And perhaps that's the lesson. It was never about the titles. It was never about the interviews. It was about character, how you treat people, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. Harry and Meghan had every opportunity to build something special, a legacy that blended modernity with meaning. But they chose control over compassion, PR over people, style over substance. And now, with their staff gone, finances in freefall, and brand in shambles, what's left? A $15 million mansion nobody wants to buy, a foundation few believe in, and a couple whose fairy tale has become a cautionary tale. Let this be a reminder. Royalty isn't something you wear, it's something you earn. And no amount of titles or designer dresses can replace humility, service, and grace. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. We're just getting started, and the next chapters in this royal drama are already unfolding. You won't want to miss what happens next.